Are you ready? Here we go. Here we go. Moon Knight. It is just me and Maddie Forge of Pressable Defects tonight. Just a duo here for
That's it.
everyone.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. That's all you need. We got Jem. He can't make it. Benny couldn't make it. Jay, Guy. Nobody wants to show up. This is what we get. I'm okay with it, right?
I feel like it's going to be a little bit more of an intimate setting, maybe a smaller chat,
Romantic.
and it's maybe
lights.
Get some candles going, some bath bombs, and we'll see what happens.
I like the bath bombs. Lavender? You like the lavender?
I love lavender.
All right.
Absolutely.
That's how we'll do it. Guys, thank you for being here, everybody in the chat. I have to assume that, Maddie, everybody in the chat knows what's about to go down, right?
I hope so. I mean, if they read the title, maybe they just wanted to come see the gingered-haired angel.
Maybe. It's possible.
It's possible.
It's possible. We do have a lot to talk about. This was outstanding. Matt and I, spoiler alert, both extremely excited for this show. And in my opinion, first episode did not disappoint. And I always like to start these shows the same way. Our live shows, when we talk about these Disney Plus shows, is whether you liked it or didn't like it. Hopefully you like it more after we break it down as well as we can. But with that, I do want to talk about a couple little things before we start talking Pressable Defects and plugin. I wanted to remind everybody the month of April, I'm going heavy on Whatnot with themes every Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. Tomorrow night is all Star Wars. I already have all the books loaded up. I actually have them sitting right here. Star Wars tomorrow, Star Wars on Whatnot, 8 o'clock Eastern. The following Friday, I'm switching it up, Matt. You ready for this?
Yes.
Funko Pops.
Okay.
The whole auction is Funkos. I got Ryan's wife coming over. Ryan Brown's wife coming over. She has a ton of Funkos.
Okay.
She's trying to streamline her collection, which we all do.
I
said, let's do Funkos on Whatnot. So next Friday's Funkos. I think Ryan might even be here. And then what's up? The Butch is in the chat. He wanted a little time away. I don't think he likes me these days. He wants no part of my channel.
Come on, you're gonna make him upset. You're gonna make him upset.
And then so week two of Whatnot is Funkos. Week 3, I got Ryan coming back. So the third Friday on Whatnot, Ryan's coming back with some variants. He's going to be doing some sketches. He's going to be doing some remarks, of course. Oh, there we go. That's it.
See, there you go. It's all
there. It is. Week 3, Ryan will be here, and I don't know if you hopped into that live show, but we were selling variants and with custom remarks. So like if you won the book, and you picked a character and he drew it on there, which was cool as hell. I don't know if anyone's ever done that, but we're doing it again in 3 weeks. The 4th Friday. You ready for this one? I don't know if I told you this.
You did not tell me this one.
The 4th Friday. Davis Ryder coming on.
Wow.
We got an exclusive shirt.
He told me about that. And actually, I think he just posted about it as well today for the first time. So
yeah. We've got an exclusive shirt coming the 4th Friday in April. You got one.
I got it. He sent it to me early. I got an early release.
Oh, the Moon Knight sold out in 7 minutes.
Dude, these are ridiculous. Like, this is such a nice shirt. Like,
yeah. So we've got an exclusive coming in 4 weeks, 4 Fridays from tomorrow. And I don't even want to say the character. I don't know if he released the character.
He did. He said he said what it was, but he didn't give too many details. So I don't want. If you want to say, you can.
Wait, on social media?
On social media, yeah.
All right, so we're doing a Spider-Man shirt in 4 weeks. The Moon Knight sold out in 7 minutes. So
that was ridiculous. I watched it. It was
crazy.
Ridiculous.
So we ordered a few more. We didn't just do. I think he did a certain number. We had more, so there should be more. Deep Dive Comics. $5 super chat. If there is toilet paper shortage anytime soon, don't forget you have the Morbius books that's worthless. Wow. The toilet paper. Wow, Deep Dive. Thanks, Sony. Sony's terrible. Like, we don't need to get into Morbius and the terrible reviews, but who enjoyed the Venom movies? Like, really, enjoyed them. The first one was okay.
The second one made the first one look like an Oscar nominee. Yeah. Because the second one was just so bad. So bad. It was so bad.
What's in the Box was able to grab a Moon Knight shirt. Good job, because they sold out so damn fast. So we've got me and Davis Ryder, we're doing a Spider-Man themed auction the 4th Friday of April, and with a Spider-Man exclusive Spider-Man shirt. Once they sell out, they're gone, and that's that. One shot. You got one shot at it. Then The last Friday, Matt, you ready for this one? The last Friday of April.
Okay. Well, there's 5 Fridays in April. Is
5 Fridays in April. The last Friday. Mystery boxes.
Wow.
50 mystery boxes. And each mystery box comes with 2 slabs, right?
Yep.
And 10 variants from Bird City Comics. 10. It is pouring outside.
Yeah, I heard it was going to get storm up there. Yeah.
10 variants, 2 slabs per box. They're going to value it over $400 a piece because I think the variants alone are about $20 a piece. But I'm going to throw in some crazy stuff in these. So out of the 50, there's going to be 10 boxes. 5, I'm sorry. 5 of the mystery boxes are going to have one of these in there.
Oh, damn.
So you have a 1 in 10 shot.
It's a big book.
At one of these. All right? Not only that, whatever box sells for the most money, whoever that person is automatically wins this.
The
Virgin.
God bless.
All right. And then for every single person,
win
who
somewhere.
enters and wins a box, your name goes in the hat. And at the end, we're pulling a name out. And whoever's name gets pulled gets this.
Black and white sketch. Okay.
So we're doing, they're all
Monsters.
All of them but the foil are going down that week. So that is the last Friday. So give me a follow on Whatnot. And I'll be honest with you, if you guys haven't bought anything on Whatnot, use the link at the top. And if you're not going to buy anything, at least buy the shirt because I think the shirts are retailing for $30. So if you get $10 off, you get a $20 shirt.
Yeah.
And they're exclusive.
And these shirts are worth it. Like these aren't the regular comic book shirts that you get that are like, you could wash them like 3 times. Like these are good shirts, like really good shirts.
He told me he wanted high quality.
Yeah.
So
and he got it.
He's running it. So, all right, are you ready? You ready to get into Moon Knight now? We only have 60 people in here, but it's the most important 60 people we could possibly have.
Well, guys,
well, let's talk defects. Hold on. What do you got going on?
So right now, I mean, I feel like we haven't been on the channel in a while. I mean, we did the auction like 5 weeks ago, but it's been a while since we've done a review or anything like that. We've made a little bit of shift. We had a lot of scheduling conflicts. So right now we're just going live every Monday night and all of our segments are Monday nights. And it's been going really good. We get a big crowd. People are digging it. The chat's been really involved. So we do news. We did Cold Keys last week. We do New Comic Book Day every week. We had David Nakayama on with us last Monday.
Oh,
yeah, man. So
killing it.
His art is phenomenal. So that was really good. It's a little technical difficulties, but he was a good sport about it. So we were kind of compressing our weekly videos into a Monday night video. And it's been working out really well. So people are digging it. They get to see us live every week. We get to see the chat live every week, which is the trade-off, right? We were upset that we had to stop doing recorded videos for the time being, but now we get to interact with the chat every week as opposed to every other week. So that's been a lot of fun.
I see. You know what's fun about that? Watching your show, because I usually have your shows on while I'm working, so I'm not typing, but I have you guys on.
Right.
I wish I could do that more often.
It's
the
fun.
Live shows, the interaction, because that is so much fun.
That's like the number one thing that like every time you get, listen, I mean, we're getting deep here. We're supposed to be talking Moon Knight, but like every time you feel like, man, it's because no matter what, like we love doing this, but sometimes life interferes like with trying to do the hobby stuff and trying to interact. But it's those live shows that are like the most fun out of anything that we do. It's like the interaction between us and the chat, and just for us, at least the three of us are together. It's like a hangout.
Oh,
so like that's what kind of like we said, let's just do the live show every week, because that is just that we can look forward to no matter what kind of week it's happening or whatever's going on. It's like you stop for an hour and a half and you just hang out with your friends. How can you beat that? So.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't want to take away. Now, I know, like you said, link at the top is pinned at the top for Whatnot. Definitely. The Whatnot stuff's been killing it. You can't deny it. But now, I had a couple people ask me, and actually a few people just asked in the chat. So I posted a bunch of books today for sale. And somebody wrote, I guess this means you guys are done with YouTube auctions. So people keep asking. So, Gary, I mean, I didn't want to jump the gun, but I don't know if you want to address it at all. So...
We are not done with YouTube auctions. The only hang up for April right now is just me asking my wife if we have anything going on that Saturday. And I haven't even asked her. I forgot. There is a certain date in April we have planned. She's in the other room, but I don't even remember the date. So I don't even want to put it out there just in case it changes.
Right.
But no, we may be going to an every other month format based on conventions and everything else that goes on, our busy lives, because I don't know if you guys realize the auctions, not only is it a long time at nighttime, and it's usually 7 to about midnight, somewhere between midnight and 1 a.m. at this point. It's 6 hours, and that's a long time to be away from our families, to be away from our kids, to be sitting in front of a computer, to be all this stuff. It also rolls into the next day,
right,
which is a long time. But we like it so much because it goes back to the live shows and the interaction. It's just a blast. It's so much fun. So no, they're not going anywhere. I made that promise when Whatnot started, and I continue to hold that promise. We are going to keep these auctions going because whether we make $5, $500, $5,000, $10,000, it doesn't matter. It's a fun time. It's a blast, and it's an excuse to be live with everybody for hours on end.
Plus, we had to have like a little bit of a layoff so I could recover from the shock collar. I feel like
that's true. Matt's going to physical therapy. He's almost done.
I got all the feeling back now on my right side. My left side's at like 80%. So
we're close.
We're good. We're getting there.
So we do have a date in mind. We just don't want to announce it yet. Just in case I have something going on, because this one's on me. It's not on Matt. It's not on Jay. This one is actually on me. So I'll get an answer out there soon. A Supreme Love, before we get into Moon Knight, yes, Epcot was a blast. It was absolutely phenomenal getting down to Florida, going to Orlando. And Matt, I did not even tell you this. And again, I don't want to digress.
Yeah.
I was walking into Be Our Guest, which is in Magic Kingdom, special lunch. You go to Beast's Castle and Beast walks around.
Okay.
Great with the kids. It was a lot of fun. Do you know, as I was walking in, a viewer, someone in the community stopped me to say hello. And I wish I asked his name. It was really quick. And we took a quick picture. His wife or his girlfriend said, "Oh, can I take a picture real quick?" And I didn't even get to ask him his name. It was very quick interaction, maybe 30 seconds, if that. But yeah, stopped me at Epcot, and it was so cool. He's super nice, and it was a great time down there.
That's awesome. But I feel like, and this isn't like a knock, but it just highlights there's a lot of similarities between, the Defects and VERYGARY, but then there's some glaring differences, right? So Gary gets noticed at the Magic Kingdom, and somebody says, "Hey, are you VERYGARY?" The Defects get no. I was out at a bar one night and somebody was fucking hammered. Excuse me, I'm cursing. I thought it was on my channel. Is hammered and screams out from across the bar, "Defects!" So there you go. Magic Kingdom sloshed at a bar. That's all I'm saying.
They're both magical places.
They're both magical places. Yeah.
Wayne Watts with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Wayne. This guy is in all the time. He's around. Yeah. I heard for the next auction, you're hooking jumper cables up to your nipples like Riggs in Lethal Weapon. Matt, actually, that's going to be Jay.
Jay's right.
Yeah, that's Jay. We did talk about that. That's next auction, so don't miss that one. All right, are we ready now to get into Moon Knight? A few more people trickled in, and I'm ready to break this down. Somebody just said up above, and I missed that comment to highlight. I think I may have maybe highlighted it. Before we even get into it, best pilot episode on any Disney Plus show, hands down, right?
I'd say I'd say Hawkeye was very close because that was
Hawkeye was very good.
We did get 2, right? And that was was it Christmas night for Hawkeye?
Oh, we got 2 Hawkeyes. No, it was Thanksgiving Eve.
Thanksgiving Eve, right. Okay, so I don't know if that had something, but that was really good. That was a really good first episode too. WandaVision's first episode wasn't good.
But we got 2.
But we got 2, right?
And I think after episode 2 of Wanda, it changed to color. And that's when we had to wait a week.
Right. So I will say if it's not 1, it's 1A. Just in my eyes. I mean, I agree with you there. It's up there. It's Hawkeye and Moon Knight as far as the first episode.
It was great. Yeah. So let's dive into it, guys. Thank you so much for hanging. We just kind of BS'd for 15 minutes before we got into it. That's what happens when you have 2 guys, right? We're just
listen.
And we haven't been live together for a while.
We haven't seen each other in a while. So
that's right. You ready to get going here?
Let's do it.
All right, we open up. Hey, do you have control, by the way, in case I lose power?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. We open up, and before I even get into this, phenomenal soundtrack in episode 1.
Very good.
Across the board. We see a scale tattoo, we see an alligator staff, and of course there's real terminology here, but I'm just playing dumb here. We see a scale tattoo, we see an alligator cane staff looking thing, and a character is drinks some water, which I would assume is water, but I truly don't know. Takes the glass that he just drank the water, smashes it, and puts it in his shoes. What the hell is going on?
I mean, the first thing that came to mind, now I know people like they do glass walking for like meditation purpose. Like there's a, like I feel like people that walk on fire, glass, like that's a thing. But he's putting it in his shoe. Like, so in my mind, when I first watched it, I was like, he's doing this to like punish himself or like, but nobody else knows that it's going on. So I was kind of like, okay, they're setting this guy up like right off the bat. And I was kind of like, whoa,
as a lunatic or something.
As a lunatic, right. I was like, wow, okay. Cool opening.
Yeah. And I know what everybody's thinking. No, those aren't my type of sandals. I know these guys talk about my sandals all the time. And no, I don't own those type of sandals.
The Moses cross trainers.
I put plastic in mine. Then, all right, that's that. Boom. Here we go. Oscar Isaac. Unbelievable. Killing it. We go to Oscar Isaac. He's waking up in bed. He's chained to his bed. We see the sand around his bed. We see the tape on the door. And immediately I say to myself, okay, this guy's waking up in the middle of the night doing stuff. He's keeping himself trapped in. He doesn't want that to happen. No, and in this moment when he wakes up, there's no footprints in the sand. He was locked in and the tape was still on the door. So obviously whatever's happened has been happening so long that he's come up with this method to find out what's going on every night. There you go. Benny might be here next week, guys.
There you go.
We'll see.
Now, was it me or when they first showed him, it almost felt like he didn't know where he was?
He looked a little confused, but I don't know.
Like he was looking around and he like looked at the chain.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, then I started getting that same vibe. I saw the sand and I'm like, and the tape and I'm like, okay, this has clearly been going on. So, which I liked. I like that they threw us right into the middle of it. And you and I talked about that earlier today, and I'm sure we'll get into it later on.
Yep. He wakes up, he feeds his fish. You can see he's got his routine, right? He calls his mom. English accent. This does take place in the UK, right? Takes place in England. And he immediately goes to
yeah, I see it.
He immediately look, if Jay's gonna hang out, he might as well be on screen with us.
Why do you think he has blue tape, Jay? That's why he has the blue tape.
So and he goes on the bus, he's taking the bus to work. And he's falling asleep on the bus. So he's not sleeping well, if he's even sleeping, right? We don't know. We don't know what's going on here. He walks into the museum and he starts talking to this little girl. And you immediately get, oh, this guy's a tour guide. He's very knowledgeable in the museum, right? It's full of it's specific to Egyptian mythology, right? And he's full of knowledge in this field. You could tell the way he's talking to this girl. And he brings her over to a sarcophagus and he talks about...
I like it.
The what?
A big word right there. I
like that?
Yeah,
very
nice.
Good.
So
he brings her over to a sarcophagus and he talks about how they used to remove the organs. And I thought this was important. And it is important later on. They remove, and I wrote this all down word for word. He says they remove the organs except for the heart. They believed they needed your heart to be judged in the underworld, and only the worthy would be allowed to pass through the field of wreaths. That was important, and we will get back into that in a little bit. I thought that was really good, and this is literally 4 minutes in, right? Because I think by the
5 minutes, yeah, 5 minutes, about 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that, yeah.
And it was, I thought that was really interesting and important. Right.
It is. It actually is very important. So, but we'll go through more. Yeah.
When we start talking Ethan Hawke, I'm sure
Yep.
We'll get into that, right? So, but quickly learn that he is not a tour guide, but yet works at the souvenir stand. And I was a little surprised.
Were you? Okay.
I was. I thought he was a tour. Now, granted, I am not going to sit here and tell you guys that I am all knowledge on Moon Knight. I'm not. I've never read a Moon Knight book. After this, that may change because I like the Norse mythology. I like the Thor and all that kind of stuff. So the Egyptian stuff, I would totally just love it, dig it, and be into it. So, where am I? Oh, he has a date. Our friend Steven has a date with a very attractive woman who is, in fact, a tour guide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she had the microphone and everything, and she's looking forward to the date.
Right. You could tell right off the bat, like at least I could tell that he was in over his head and it was out of his league. And in my mind, I'm like, he clearly didn't make that date before they even led on to that fact, because you could just tell that he is this paranoid, just dorky, like
he's not pulling that. Like the lovable loser, right?
Yeah, he's not pulling that. So you knew right away that what they were setting up was started to become apparent, like right in that moment, like right before he even said,
because he didn't even know about the date.
Right.
He had no idea that there was a date.
What was I going to say? Oh, and remember we had talked about earlier about comic accuracy. So the first thing off the bat that's not accurate is Stephen Grant. And again, like Gary said, I'm not a huge Moon Knight buff, but I've read enough to feel like I know a decent amount. And Jay did a fantastic breakdown of Moon Knight on our channel, just like a complete like origin. That was pretty cool.
Jay is good with the Moon Knight stuff. He should be here. I mean,
he should be here. Stephen Grant is actually a millionaire, so clearly, almost like a Playboy millionaire. So clearly, the complete antithesis of what this Stephen Grant is, as far as we know so far, right? That could completely change because this thing is going in so many possible directions. So we will reserve judgment until later episodes, I feel like, on how
Jay will get on the next one. All right.
There you go.
We'll talk.
There you go.
I know he was. I didn't even bother him because I know, we talked about it. I know he was, wishy-washy, not feeling it, but he's going to miss this. He's going to miss what's happening right now. But yeah, I wrote the lovable loser. I kind of got that vibe, the lovable loser. Like, it's hard not to like this guy fairly quickly into the episode, right? Like I kind of vibed with him. I'm like, all right, this guy's bad things happen to him, but he just takes it on the chin and moves on and just, his boss is horrible. She's a wicked woman.
Horrible.
Terrible. I can't use the word I want to use.
But I like her character though. Like,
oh yeah,
it's necessary. I like it.
Yeah. And he's taking it from her, but like still being himself. He's not nasty with her.
Yeah.
He's just himself.
Yeah.
And then here, this is important. So during the part where they're going through inventory, he starts talking to her about the signage outside and the posters. And he says, look, this super group of Egyptian gods. And I don't remember the name he used. It was a little tough for the accent for me to pick up. It was like a real deep English accent. And usually I'm pretty good, but sometimes it's a little mumbled for me. But he talks about the super group of Egyptian gods. It's 9 gods. And there was only 7. There were only 7 on the poster. And he, I don't want to say it irked him, but he caught his attention. And he's like, hey, if we want to be accurate here, there's really 9.
Right. And one of the ones that they left off was, and that he started naming, but he didn't get to finish naming them, is Atum, who's also known as Amun-Ra, who is the Sun King. Is it Sun King, right? That everybody thinks that maybe Ethan Hawke's character is playing. He's the avatar for Amun-Ra / Atum. And all of those gods are descendant of Atum. I can't remember. It's like oh my God, that group of gods. I can't remember the name. It's on the tip of my tongue. But so Ennead, there you go. Ennead. So that was interesting that they left out that name, but then later on showed it in a book. So, and we talked about that on our channel a little bit, but go ahead.
Show Business 77 with that $5 super chat. Stephen Grant from Show is better choice in comics. Moon Knight's egos are too confident and tough. You need a contrast so we feel and fear his loneliness. So we've got some Moon Knight readers in here, which is good.
Yes.
This is going to be the first series where I have no knowledge. So like I'm going in as like a non-comic book fan, which is weird.
Sometimes that's actually better because you just enjoy the show for what it is, right?
It's the first time for me. And Chinmo, I thought about this too, man. I don't think he's talking to his mom on the phone. He says later, Gator, every time there may be something to that. I thought about that too, and I didn't even write it down. I 100% agree. 100% agree. So now he's talking to like a street actor, the guy in gold, about his sleeping issues and how, he's got a strap in bed, his ankle. How's he going to explain that? And he's, concerned. But again, the nice guy, he tips him. He helps those people he takes the picture for 2 other people and then just reminds them, hey, leave a tip. I just thought that was pretty good. I liked all that. I like that little interaction. And again, we're learning into this character fairly quickly, in my opinion.
But that character in the credits is actually a character from comics.
The gold
guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's not gold in comics, but I read in the credits. He's in the credits, and his name's Crawley, and that's a character. And there was a rumor going around a few weeks ago that this character would appear. Whether he's important or not, or it's just a nod to the comic books, we'll find out. It felt important, which is like I was going, as they were scrolling the credits, came up and it said it said Crawley. So I was like, okay, that's got to be, the character. Like there was no other character, so it has to be him. And he was like a bum. Crawley was like a homeless guy. So that was like the closest person that we got. So whether he becomes something, we'll find out.
This is going to be, this whole Disney Plus show, this whole Moon Knight show is going to be one that we go to this chat often.
Yeah.
And just
100%. Look, that's perfectly, he nailed it there.
For everybody here, the mercenary Mark Spector, he's tough. Cabbie, Jake Lockley, and wealthy playboy. The mercenary Mark Spector, the tough cabbie Jake Lockley, the wealthy playboy Stephen Grant, all alpha males. But Stephen, right now on Disney Plus, not an alpha.
No, definitely not.
So, did you pick up on this? So now he goes back. It's bedtime, right? He goes back. Oh, wrong franchise. He goes back to bed. And now we're seeing like his nightly routine. He tries to stay awake for a little bit. He's doing his puzzles. He's reading about the stuff that interests him, this Egyptian god stuff. But did you catch the numbers on the lock?
I did not.
Okay, I saw them quickly and I didn't write them down. I was curious if they meant something. Like usually you see numbers in these shows and it's like a first appearance or referencing a book or something like that. So I didn't, and maybe the chat did. Maybe next time. Jay's really good at that.
Yeah, he catches those things.
Jay's really good at that. So there was
I saw it the first time they showed it. One of the times I saw the numbers, I'm like, oh, I got to pause it the next time I watch, because I watched it twice, but I got away from the number stuff because we got so tied up in the numbers, like on the first couple Disney Plus shows, that I'm like, I was driving myself crazy.
They all
with
meant
that
stuff.
They did. Sometimes it meant something, but it didn't mean anything. You know what I mean? Like
it was just a nod.
Just a nod, right?
Yep. So, all right. So now here we go. Now we're about 10, 15 minutes into the show, and this is where it gets real. So he finally falls asleep, and immediately the way they're transitioning is outstanding. I like the way they're transitioning scenes. He passes out, split second, wakes up in the middle of a field with a broken jaw.
Yeah.
Awesome. He wakes up, he cracks his jaw back. He's not feeling good. And then he hears the voice. Go back to sleep, worm.
Yep.
Talking to him like, what is going on? More voice. You're not supposed to be here. Surrender the body to Mark. The idiot's in control. And before you get to really see it, you see behind him what looks like one of these Egyptian gods.
Khonshu.
And there you go. And that's the first. And you don't even see his head, his face, anything. You see him almost from the chest down.
Yep. So
we see immediately we learn how tall he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's a big boy. He's tall. And
I was surprised how fast that happened, to be honest.
That was, they brought him in real quick.
Yeah.
You saw a lot of him before you even see the Moon Knight. Like, you see a lot of him. And he's,
I was very surprised. Yeah.
Such a good job at making him seem so creepy and the bad guy, right? And just, they did a good job.
But I like how they use his like. I like that he's not. I like that he's a little witty and like kind of corny. You know,
Yeah,
I kind of like that. I felt like
makes it realistic, like
it
real.
suited,
Yeah.
right? Like, and I'm sure some of the diehards will be like, that's not how he's. But it doesn't like. I'm okay. Like I think they chose the right tone and the right way to present him. That he's not just this over looming Egyptian god. Like he's almost like, come on, you loser, get out of the way. Like I kind of like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the Venom voice. The voice they used was outstanding. It was
a good
clear.
voice. Yeah.
You could understand every word. Here's a rumor that I actually, Matt, did you see this? That they're teasing Doctor Doom already?
I saw that. But what is that? I mean, we all want it to be true that it was Latveria, but like, what is that based on? You know, like,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying to Ty K. I'm just saying in general because I've seen it out there. But
Oh,
like,
I've seen a lot of it. Yeah, no, that's not to you, Ty. We've seen a lot of this, but like, why?
Yeah.
Why? But, and with that, you know, Steven turns around, he looks up on the castle, and they start shooting. There's two guys just start shooting at him.
That was
he
funny.
Runs into town, and this is where things get weird. And like this show is not like any Disney Plus show yet. This is very different.
Absolutely.
Very different. And I love it. I'm really liking this. So he's running into town, and it almost seems like there's a cult going on. Ethan Hawke is walking through, and people are like touching him and just following him. And he's going to the center of town, this little village, how you would think like these little European villages, right? These little Italian, these little English, these little Irish villages, right? And he walks in, and things start getting real, man. I mean, I just put, I wrote here, just seems like a cult. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
That's the vibe, right? Like we don't. It's definitely somebody that's they're following him, right? So
yeah. And he's there, and he says what he says about, you know, heaven, and this isn't heaven, and blah 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 blah. And then he goes to judgment. You know, it's time to judge. And one guy comes up. He puts the staff on him, which is what's his name? What's this? Not Set.
Oh, you're talking about the alligator?
Yeah. Amit, right?
Amit. Yeah.
Amit. And boom, we're judging.
Got the scales
the
going.
Scales on his wrist, the tattoo on his wrist start moving. And I'm like, all right. And basically it says he's a good person. And the thing that they really drove this home is that it judges your past, present, and future. So it may not be something you've done or recently done in the past. It may be something that you're going to do in the future. And I thought that was kind of important. And
it seems to be like a theme in some of the Disney. Like I got a Loki vibe off that kind of immediately when I first saw it. Right?
Past, present, future.
Well, like how they're judging, like how they're judging you based on things maybe you didn't even do yet.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You know, so that's, you know, and somebody said Rama Tut in the chat, but I mean, you got to think that, right, with the Egyptian stuff, like that's got to be playing into your mind. So
of course,
could be nothing, right?
Could be
nothing, but
and then they end up an older woman comes up to be judged, and she doesn't quite make it. She's done something bad, and he almost looked unhappy that she died, and he tried to explain to her it may be something you haven't done yet,
right?
But her soul, whatever, she almost looks like the life is drawn out from her, and she's gone. So we lose her.
So do you want to talk a little bit about that with the scales and stuff?
Yeah, go do your thing.
So that's you know, when, and Jay wanted me to really pat myself on the back here, but I'm going to try not to. So after the Super Bowl, or during the Super Bowl, we did a breakdown immediately after that. That was the first time we saw the scales going, right? And we immediately broke down that we thought it had to do with Anubis and Amit. In the comics, not in comics, in Egyptian lore, Amit is just kind of like, I don't want to say the pet, but kind of the vessel for Anubis that does his dirty work. So if you die, you get judged before you move on to the afterlife, right? And Stephen Grant talks about this to the girl at the very beginning, that your heart is judged against a feather, and if the feather weighs more, then Amit devours you and you don't pass across the field of reeds. Okay, so we kind of broke that down right away and said, this is the book you got to buy for Amit. I don't know how much of a role she's actually going to play, but clearly that was the spec here, right? Do we see Anubis as well? I don't want to jump too far ahead. We do see some creatures at the end. We'll leave that for the end, but they definitely did some retconning here, and they're kind of making Amit the god, which she really wasn't in comics and in Egyptian history. She's not a god. She's just kind of a devourer of the dead, just like a tool, like an executioner, more or less. So she may be the big bad, she may not be, but they talk a little bit more about that later. So if you're looking for that book, though, her first appearance, she appears in some Conan magazines. So those are obviously a little bit more expensive and harder to find. If you're looking at her first comic appearance, it is not Magic, the Arena, Arcane, or whatever that is. That book came out 6 months after. It is called Hellstorm, Son of Satan #3. That is the first time we see Amit, full page, with the name, explains what she does, who she is, next to Anubis. So if there's somebody telling you that that's not the first appearance in comics and that it's that Arcane Magic book, they're wrong. I'll just leave it at that. I
absolutely love reading the chat right now because everybody is very helpful. This is going to be a very chat discussion heavy show because there's a lot of mythology involved and some people are really good at that. Forget the comic books, forget the show. The Egyptian mythology behind it is going to be a lot of discussing.
Oh, and I love that. Like, that was a thing that I liked in school. Yeah, big time.
Yep. I like all that stuff. I mean, I told you I like the Norse gods. I like the Thor stuff. I like the, the Greek gods. I like all that stuff. I have not really done a lot with the Egyptian gods. I did play Age of Mythology on PC way long ago.
Well, then, I mean, you're a pro.
Don't
clearly.
Seduce me over there.
Uh-oh. This is very Gary.
I don't want you to hear any of this. Melissa still has to watch it, and she wants to, and I think she's gonna love it. What?
Oh, I think they will. Let me see what the chat's saying here.
You don't need to watch Hawkeye to watch this. You're okay.
People are saying they think it's weird that Amit is judging as well. So there is a little bit of a retcon. People were surprised about that. Yeah, so a lot of people are saying the same thing. Yeah,
you know what's great about that is, like, I don't think you're gonna piss off the comic book accurate people because it's not the end of the world with this. It's not Spider-Man. It's Moon Knight. You could play a little bit, right? You could waver a little bit.
And we don't even. This is episode 1.
Yeah.
So it kind of seems like a red herring that they're going to just say, like, here's the big bad right away. Like,
Ahmed
is not. Right. There's got to be another level, right?
I don't think
that's where I think it's. And again, I'm jumping way ahead, but you're looking at Anubis or Amun-Ra / Adam. It's got to be one of those two, unless they're just being so transparent and it's just like what you see is what you get, which is definitely possible, right? That's possible, Jem's. That's usually Jem's theory.
It's
right?
not their MO, right?
It's not. I mean, not this obvious.
No,
right?
I want to blow through this because we have a lot to discuss.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm talking about me because I have like pages of stuff where, like, there wasn't a whole lot that went down. So I'm gonna blow through this. We see the Ethan Hawke thing. Okay, so this part was pretty cool, right? Like, they want the Scarab back. You learn quickly that there's something to do with the Scarab. Stephen overnight at some point went and retrieved this Scarab that's very important because you hear Nashu, right? Khonshu telling Stephen, do not give him this Scarab, Ethan Hawke. Right? Do not give Ethan, whatever his name ends up being. Did they say his name yet?
Arthur Harrow. Yeah.
They did say it? All right.
Yeah.
Do not give Arthur this Scarab. And what's great is, like, he controlled him. Like, he controlled his body. Stephen was like, take this. I want no part of this. Get me out of this. And he was like, nope. Like, he controlled his limbs and said no. And it gets to the point where Khonshu makes Stephen run away.
Yep.
And this is the first time we see what exactly he can do, because he gets grabbed by about 3 or 4, maybe 5 people. They grab him and they just get the scarab out of his hand. And you see that flash and he's blinking. And then all of a sudden he wakes back up. Like you come back. He's got blood in his hand with the scarab. And there are people lying around everywhere. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, let's go.
That's landmark. Cool. That's landmark for Kevin Feige's MCU. That amount of blood we have not seen to this point, correct?
We don't see much blood at all.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, but a fistful of blood. The scarab, the wings were out now. Almost looked like he was using them to stab. And people's heads were just bleeding. Like somebody's eye was bleeding. Yeah, so I was like, whoa. I was like, we knew it was going to be bloody. They said that, but it just was, to me, it was still shocking because outside of, I mean, in Kevin Feige's MCU, we haven't seen that. Outside of Daredevil and, Punisher and things like that, like, Luke Cage, we haven't seen that. So that was landmark to me.
It was and I think it's going to set the precedence for the show, just how gritty this is going to get. And I thought that was really important. This guy, he takes off now. He's running away, and boom, in his head, right? Khonshu, don't drop the scarab. Like he tells him, don't drop the scarab. Then we get into this awesome car chase scene. I thought it was awesome. I love the way they did it. This guy gets into a big old cupcake van. He's driving, and we learn too. Boom, this dude doesn't have. Oh, Papa Shui. Sorry, I got distracted. He doesn't have a license. Like, this dude just grew up in the city, right? He's got that city life mentality where no license, nothing. He's trying to drive. And the whole car scene to me was awesome, the car chase scene, because 2 separate times he flashed out of Steven and turned into Moon Knight. Yeah. Well, we assume Moon Knight. Whatever's happening, right? Whatever's happening.
Very cool.
And both times saved his ass.
Yeah.
And it was, I love the transition. I'm loving the
I think it's somebody said they're doing violence without showing violence, and I'm comics in my veins. I'm assuming like maybe not happy about that, but I didn't mind it because to me it's just like they're just teasing you right now.
They're teasing because we'll get it.
They're just teasing you.
Yeah, we are gonna get it. And
CGI, somebody's saying this. CGI was not great. It was okay.
Cupcake, right?
Just the whole, like, there was some, but guess what? This isn't a big budget movie. Like, it's a big budget TV show, but to do CGI that we're used to on the big screen, it takes millions. Like, it doesn't make sense. The CGI for the Disney Plus shows has been good, but not great. And I'm okay with that because it is a TV show. And then we got to remember that. Yeah.
I think they'll get better.
For sure.
Like, as the budgets get bigger, which is inevitable.
Right.
But it's fine. I'm not watching Moon Knight for the special effects. I'll be honest. I'm watching this for the story. I mean, I watch all of them, right? We all watch all of them. But this is going to be a very story-driven show, I assume, with some hints of action. So
I think you're going to get great cinematography and you're going to get some great fight scenes. From what we saw, remember they were choreographing that fight scene?
Yeah.
Months back. It was Oscar. Like, I bet you're going to get some really good fight scenes.
All right, so now all of a sudden, boom, he wakes up in bed. Out of nowhere, my man wakes up in bed, chained up, sand untouched, and tape on the door. Like, oh, okay, this must be a dream. Like, this guy was like, all right. And then he starts to realize, man, something's just not right. Like his fish, who originally had 1 fin in the beginning of the episode, now has 2. And he goes back to the pet store. He's like, these fish don't grow fins. What's going on? And then, she says, that's not what you said the other day. And he's like, wait, what? And, he's starting to grasp like something's not right. He learns what time it is. Time has jumped. It's now the evening. He thought it was morning because he just woke up. And he's like, oh, God, I have a date with the smoke show from the museum. I got a date. He goes, he gets ready. He gets there, and it seems like he's being stood up. And I said to myself, I'm like, you know what? This poor guy, like, was this chick being mean to him? Like, that's what I thought in my head. I'm like,
oh, really? See, right off the bat, I knew. I was like, I was watching it with my girl, and I said, he doesn't even know what day it is. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the girl was there already, and he's like a day or 2 late. Like, I didn't know it was 2 days later. I figured it was the next day. But that's in my mind right away. I'm like, he had to have time jumped because, like, he was in another part of the world. right? So
Yeah, wherever he was.
yeah,
London. You got
London. That was funny. Yeah.
so he ends up calling her, and she tells him it's now Sunday. They were supposed to meet Friday. 2 days. My man lost 2 days.
Yep. Yep.
And now he's really freaking out. He
Starts
goes
having a little
back.
breakdown. Starts having a little mini breakdown with
He
the
has
steak.
a mini
Yeah.
breakdown. The vegan starts eating steak, and you could tell like he's not answering the questions right, because all vegans know how to answer. How do you want?
Is he
steak
the
done?
vegan? I think the woman was the vegan, which made it even more weird. Like, how did you get this
I
hot
thought
woman?
he was the vegan.
No, I think it was her. Like, how did you get this hot woman that's a vegan to come to dinner at a steakhouse with you? That was like the punchline there.
Oh, see, I missed that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then that makes sense that he definitely is having this breakdown, because he's not even answering the questions. What cut do you want? How do you want it cooked? Like silly stuff, right? But that's that. And then he goes back home. He's freaking out. He goes back home.
People are saying he was the vegan. I
I
didn't.
thought he was the vegan. Yeah.
Maybe I read that wrong, but all right.
That's all
there
right.
you go.
Anyway, he goes back home. He's eating all the chocolates, drops the
Yep.
chocolate, and he realizes that his floor is scratched up where the legs of this table are. He moves a rug, and he sees that this table's been moved a lot. Hops on the table, finds a loose wallboard. Didn't even know that was a thing, but there's a loose wallboard, pulls out a key and a cell phone. My man turns the cell phone on, and there were 2 names in there.
Yes.
Right? 2 names in there. I wrote them down. Layla, which there was a million Laylas calling him, texting him, and then Duchamp.
You know who that is?
I don't.
Okay, so Duchamp is going to be his kind of. It's not like I guess it's kind of like a sidekick. Frenchie. Okay, introduced also in Werewolf by Night 32. Just kind of his fellow mercenary right hand man, always with him through
probably a
stuff.
nod more than we'll see that character.
It's hard to say because he was important. I feel like at some point you'll get him. Maybe not in the show, but if you do Moon Knight, you got to have him at some point.
Yeah.
And I also think that Layla is going to take the place of Marlene.
Okay.
Marlene was his main squeeze in the comics, and it just seems like from what we saw so far, like between all of the teasers and then some people talking about the first 4 episodes, it seems like that's his main interest in the show. So it seems like they have replaced Marlene with Layla. So, but we'll see.
Frenchie, and again, I'm not a Moon Knight guy, so I've never read these books. I did not do all of the homework. Does he have any powers or abilities or anything?
I don't believe so.
He's like Robin.
Just like a mercenary.
A mercenary. All right.
Yep.
So
somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, the chat's been phenomenal.
They've been great.
With information. Outstanding. And what's funny is like you get the same info from like 4 or 5 different guys who are obviously deep into the Moon Knight lore, which is good because we're gonna need it. This is not Spider-Man. This is not Batman. You're going so far off the main. This is also the first Disney Plus show of a new character introduction. Like, yes, we got Hawkeye, right? But this is the first solo. Like, this is it.
Single. Okay. Yes. Just
right?
that character. Yes.
Just that character. Yeah, we got
carrying the whole show.
Yeah, we got Kate Bishop and Hawkeye, but it was also Hawkeye and Kate, right? We got we got Clint and Kate. Like this is the first. This is it.
He makes the gadgets. That's right. I forgot that.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Frenchie's like Alfred. Okay. Helps him out, makes the gadget. But he gets his hands dirty too then.
I feel like in the older comics he didn't, but I feel like in the newer comics he did. And maybe I have that mixed up, but correct me if I'm wrong. Because in Werewolf by Night 32, he looks like a guy that he's not fighting anybody. But in the modern comics, he looks like this polished gentleman, like kind of like Mark's equal. So they kind of retconned him, I believe. So.
All right. So now we go. Layla calls him. Blah, 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 blah. Now he's hearing the voice again. He's hearing that Khonshu voice. He's hearing something going on. He's hearing it, and it's bothering him. He runs out of his apartment. The lights are flashing. He sees himself in the mirror moving differently. All this stuff is going on. He ends up going down, and then he sees Khonshu coming towards him.
Yep.
Coming towards him off the elevator. Creepy, scary.
That was the freakiest part of the whole episode.
That was with the lights flashing, and he's getting closer, and he's looking. He's not moving, and it ends up being an older woman, and this and that. He gets back off. He goes back into his room. And the monster is behind him in the elevator as he's getting off. Right as he's getting off the elevator, boom! Khonshu. I say monster, but it's Khonshu right behind him. Boom! Flashes, and he's on a bus.
And he freaks out.
Freaks out from the bus. He's on the bus. He's freaking out. Like, what just happened? He gets off the bus, and who's on the bus?
Arthur Harrow.
He knew it. Yep, he's there. And as well as other people from the town.
Let me ask you this. Right. We don't know that until later, but
yeah,
I like how they and I wonder if they're going to do something with it as far as like explaining like what's the trigger that makes them go between Mark and Steven. Because in one of the transitions during the chase scene, the gunshot almost seemed like is what like kind of woke him up, right? Like he wakes up and like there's the sound of the gunshot as he's waking up as Steven. And then the same thing, he wakes up almost screaming right on the bus as Steven again from the last time he saw Khonshu. So clearly there was a gap there. So I wonder if they're ever going to get into that whole like what triggers what. I hope. Yeah.
Or when it starts really becoming I can't, and I want to talk about this at the end because I want to blow through it.
Yeah.
Show Business 77 with the $5 super chat. Interesting here. Layla equals Marlene, who is French in the books, but May Calamoy Layla is a famous Egyptian actor. We get diversity that makes sense. Oscar also ambiguous.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't know the whole detail behind it, but that's just my sense is that Layla is going to be a Marlene. Yeah.
Makes sense, right? What's crazy is this dude gets off the bus. He's in front of the museum. He runs his museum. He's running in, and Ethan Hawke, what's his name? Arthur
Harrow. Yeah.
Arthur Harrow walks in, and he basically was like, "I didn't believe you. You really are just a guy working at this. You know, where's the Scarab? The Scarab belongs to Amit. And he's like, I don't know where it is, and he doesn't. Steven doesn't know where the Scarab went. As of now, right? We have no idea.
We have no idea. I thought it was going to be in the wall, but he didn't.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And he ends up judging him, and this was cool, man, because even Arthur looked shook a little bit here when he judged him.
When they judged him, right?
He looked uncomfortable.
Because how do you judge? Like, technically, I mean, I don't know how they're going to explain it here, but in comics, he's dead. He was brought back to life, and now he's an avatar.
Arthur.
So is he not being judged?
Steven. Mark Spector.
Mark Spector. Is he not being judged because he died already, or he's under Khonshu? He's Avatar's Khonshu because he has multiple personalities. Could be any of those reasons why he couldn't be judged, or whatever happened. Right?
Well, he says there's chaos in you, so we don't know. They're gonna explain this.
Right. But you jumped off, and I don't know. I think it's going to be important, but they talk about how Amit was betrayed by her original avatar, and that she was also betrayed by the other gods, and that she decided to take matters into her own hands and just start judging people to make the world a better place.
Now, do we know if this is true, or if this is how Arthur has been told?
Right, exactly. So that is if that is the truth, that's something new that they made up for the show. Or, like you said, Arthur's being led to believe this.
Yeah, Arthur could be being taken advantage of.
Right. He doesn't seem like a completely evil man. He just feels like he's just carrying out whatever duties he thinks is right. Almost like a Thanos vibe. A little less, but because he wasn't, he grabbed Steven, I'll call him Steven right now. He grabbed his wrists, and it was almost like they were having a friendly conversation for a small time there, right?
Yeah.
He's giving him a chance to give him the Scarab, giving him a chance to be judged, and hey, are you sure you're okay with this? So I think it was an interesting dynamic. So
after that, he's there doing his job, right? What's he doing? Inventory, and he leaves at night, and he hears like a dog in the back. And this was so good.
So
he goes
good.
back there and he hears a new voice, which was Arthur.
Over the loudspeaker, I'm assuming.
Over the loudspeaker.
Right? Yeah.
Wasn't it over the loudspeaker? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Leave, just give me the Scarab and
it won't rip you apart. Yeah.
yeah, we'll be good here. Just give me the Scarab.
Yeah.
And there are werewolves. Would we call these werewolves?
I feel
one.
People keep saying jackals, which is what Anubis is, and that's the connection with Amit and Anubis. So that's the connection I didn't want to, but people are saying Anubis, right? Those things look like jackals. They kind of look like Anubis a little bit. The long pointy ears, theirs are a little bit more floppy, but that's the vibe I'm getting.
Furry as you would think a wolf would look.
Right. That's the vibe I'm getting. So we'll see. We'll see if that's where this ends up going, that it actually is Anubis, or they're going to show more gods. We've seen it in the trailer, right? They're going to show a bunch of gods. How important are the other gods? We're going to find out. If it really is Amit or it's somebody else.
Yeah. And this is where it gets crazy. My man's running. He runs into a bathroom that you have to use a badge in. I thought that was pretty good. And he's scared, rightfully so. Steven is freaked out. And who comes to save the day but Poe Dameron? Right there in the mirror, you get Poe. And he's telling him. And this is where you really get a sense of Oscar Isaac's talent. Right here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And this is where this part, like, I enjoyed the whole episode, but this little 2-minute clip of seeing Oscar Isaac talking to Oscar Isaac as two different personalities is what I was so looking forward to. The only thing better than what was going on is something if in one scene he's talking through both sides of his mouth to himself, and it's got to happen, and that is going to be awesome, in my opinion. And
100%.
He basically tells him, Mark Spector, right? This is Mark Spector now in the mirror talking to Steven. Give me control. I will save us. And he talks him off the ledge.
He does.
Smooth. Yeah. Like you're starting to say, okay, so Mark Spector is smooth. Because he said, listen to me, look at me. I can save us.
Can't fight me, though. You can't fight me. Yeah, he kept saying.
Let me take control. And then he does. And you get to start seeing the transformation into Moon Knight. And the jackal busts through the door. And you hear chaos. You hear nonsense. And you see the jackal trying to get the hell out of there. And he gets dragged right back into the bathroom. And the bathroom was destroyed. Like that was the fight. He tore up the tile trying to get away. And it was just a flash and a glimpse and a tiny moment of what I think we're going to see from this show. And I love how they ended it.
Just, you see him you finally see some violence, and he turns around, the eyes are glowing, and boom, we're done. I thought that was a great way to end it. I wasn't underwhelmed. Of course I wanted more, but I was good. I was like, I'm okay with the way it ended. It didn't feel like an hour show.
No, it was 50 minutes. More. Right? Yeah. Because we got an episode in a week. We should want more. You shouldn't want to be like, I don't care about next week.
Right.
And this was, again, in my opinion, and somebody said it, this was probably the best pilot of all the Disney Plus shows next to Hawkeye. Good.
I love the bathroom scene with the mirrors, because you noticed it. I heard somebody else say this, but like, there was so many different times where there was reflections in this episode. And the mirrors were cool because he was like, you had the infinity loop because you had two mirrors. And then there's all of a sudden there's just one. It's just Mark speaking to him. Then there's another time where there's no reflection at all besides Mark. So the infinity goes away. And it was like all one camera shot. They kept swinging it around. Production was through the roof. I mean, and as far as the actor, top 3 actor in the MCU right now, right? I mean,
we talked about this. You've got Benedict Cumberbatch,
Tom Hiddleston.
What?
Tom Hiddleston,
and I think Oscar Isaac. I think those are your 3 best actors in the MCU right now. And
so fantastic. I I don't know how else they could have done it any better. For the first episode, a new character disconnected from the MCU. I don't know how it could have gone better. I mean,
No, I loved it. I'm so excited for this, and it is a completely different vibe from anything we've gotten yet in the MCU. In
that's
my
what they
opinion.
needed.
Yeah. And now, all right. So somebody was it Deuce Boy? Me and Matt
What's up,
actually
Guy Forge?
we talked about this off camera on the phone. We kind of have some theories. So should we break this down really fast? Do you think we can do everything in 5 minutes?
Yeah, we'll talk about. I mean, we're both super high on this episode, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
that was easy.
All right. 1 through 10. Chat. I want to hear from the chat. 1 through 10. What do you give this episode? I got mine.
We're doing round number. Can I do like a half, or can I? What are we doing?
All right. 5s. That's it.
Okay, so we can only go with 0.5s. Like, I hate to go big on the first episode, like, because I want to leave room. I want to give it a 9, but I'm going to give it an 8.5. I'm going to give it an 8.5 because I feel like I need a little bit of room to go up, but it's very close to being a 9 for me. That it was that good.
I'm at an 8, and it's the only reason I'm at an 8 is to give room because I think we're going to get better.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of 8s and 9s. I see some lows. Ugly Ewok's a 6.5, but he's a negative Nancy.
He's tough. He's tough to crack.
He's tough. I've got some 10s, a 7.5, which is still very respectable.
Probably the highest overall grade for a single episode. I feel like that we've broken down, like the chat. I feel like this is a very high score from the chat.
There's Michael the Beast Benson's giving it a 10. Wow.
I could see why. I got to be honest. I mean, it gave you everything you'd want.
7, but Copper Age Commando, friend of the channel. 7, but I'm optimistic. I thought it was a little inaccessible to those who have no idea who Moon Knight is. I actually think I don't think you're supposed to know yet what's going on.
Well, that's the
Moon Knight character and the lore and everything.
And I'll say I watched it with my girlfriend and she loved it without knowing anything. Of course, I gave her a little bit of, like, we stopped it 2 times just to kind of explain a couple things, but she was good with the way it was. She was like, I like that they jumped right into it. He's a realist, yeah. Now, Gary, we talked about this, and you said to me, I like how they just jumped in. And I said, it was perfect, but at some point, I would love them to do the Moon Knight movie and go back to the beginning, right? Like, that's because you couldn't do that. Like, you had to, this has to connect to the MCU, and that'll follow up with the question that somebody just asked.
Yep.
You have to catch up to that speed right away. So you're going to get like 4 episodes. That's what everybody's saying, of like this buildup. And then the last 2 is probably where you're going to start to see where the connection is. You want to say where you think it's going, Gary? Like where the tie is?
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit. I think they're going to tie the MCU into the MCU. And I could be totally wrong, guys. I am totally shooting in the dark here. And it is total speculation and assumption and guessing. But I'll tell you why. Actually, Matt, I'm going to say why. Matt, you tell them why. So here's my assumption, and Matt will explain why. I believe we're going to get Blade on camera. I think we're going to get Blade. I also think we're going to get Dane Whitman. Maybe not the Black Knight, but I think we're going to get Dane Whitman. This takes place in England. Dane Whitman is in England. We know that Blade went to see him at the end of Eternals. Spoiler alert. It's been out now for 5-6 months. You should have seen Eternals by now. It's on Disney+. We know Blade went to see Dane Whitman. I would imagine and hope and guess that the 2 of them now come to get Moon Knight. We are putting a team together. Go ahead, Matt. Break it down.
So that was funny. So we kind of broke that down on the phone before, and it was like, you said something about Dane Whitman, and I was like, well, they're definitely in England, so that's good. Oh, you said something about Blade, right? Yep. And so we started tying it all together because I said, this is crazy how Marvel is finally starting to do something different than the standard boilerplate. Because guess what? I don't care. I love the MCU, but a lot of it, it feels like almost like they're just cutting and pasting things here and there. This is different. This is supernatural, and it's going to start tying into horror. So do we start to see the horror? Like, if this is what they're going to do for supernatural and horror, dude, count me in. And that's where you could see the ties to Blade, Midnight Suns, And if they do continue along with that theme of Blade and Blade and Dane Whitman, are you going to see MI13? Right? Are we going to see Captain Britain MI13? Because that's what people were speculating on when you saw Blade and Dane Whitman. So do they go and grab Moon Knight as well? I think that's more far-fetched than like a Midnight Suns starting to be formed or some type of supernatural team being formed. But that's definitely where that connection is going to be made. So I feel like the connection is going to be made, but the connection isn't even something that we've seen yet. We haven't really seen Supernatural yet. So I feel like they're going to build it and start to build. Like, we know Blade's out there, but he's technically not, right? Like, we know he's coming, but we haven't seen him yet. So that's where I think they're going to. We heard him, but I think they're building that Supernatural. And if this is what we have to look forward to for Supernatural, sign me up for all the Supernatural first before even the other crap, because this was extremely well done.
Chris Biggs, we talked Ghost Rider, and I don't think you get Ghost Rider in a Disney Plus.
Not yet.
I think if you get Ghost Rider, we're going to see him in Doctor Strange.
That would be a waste. That would be a waste.
We're going to get him on the big screen before Disney Plus. Now, here comes the tinfoil hat. What are they telling us? Crazy theory here. And Matt did the same thing happened to Matt that happened to me. When I watched Moon Knight and the episode ended, the next thing that was recommended was Eternals. Now, could totally just be because it's the last thing on Disney Plus. They wanted to show me Eternals. But I've already watched Eternals. It recommended Eternals. And who showed up in the end credit scene but Blade? Dane Whitman, Blade are both in. More importantly, Dane Whitman, I would almost say now because of England and everything. But we know Blade is there. So are they kind of telling you, hey, you might want to watch Eternals?
Maybe.
We're recommending Eternals.
Yeah, I mean, it did it for me, and I just watched it again, and it did it again. So I have a feeling it's because it was the last one, but I think if I had to push all my chips in on which character we get, it's Blade.
Or Dane Whitman? Would you say Blade over Dane Whitman, or together? What would you say? I
would say Blade over Dane Whitman, but I could definitely see them both showing up. I don't see Dane Whitman by himself. I feel like Blade's the connection there. And he clearly went to get Dane Whitman, so maybe he's building the team. Went to get Dane Whitman, now he's going to get Mark Spector. So I could see that happening, and I know we've talked about it. They're not going to want to do these big reveals for Disney Plus, but guess what? That's out the window.
Oh, once we got Kang?
We got Kang / Immortus. We got Kingpin.
Yep.
We're gonna get. I'm pretty certain we're gonna get Blade here. You know, I feel like we've been pretty. I feel like we're getting pretty good at this stuff, right? WandaVision. Yeah. Even with WandaVision, I mean, I know we threw a lot out there, but the main one we threw out there is looking pretty good next month, right?
I mean, baby. Darkhold and Chthon.
It's looking pretty good for the beginning of May. So we'll see. But Immortus, me and you said it from the beginning. I feel like
I can't take any credit for the Darkhold and Chthon. That's 1,000% you. But we were both talking Immortus.
Yeah.
From the second that show started, we were talking, and look what happened. So I'm gonna say the time, and to make this long, drawn out conversation smaller, I believe they will tie the MCU to Moon Knight through Dane Whitman or Blade, and that's how you get the connection, right there.
I'm with it, 100%, and maybe that's Midnight Suns.
And which would be an awesome Disney Plus series.
100%. Yeah.
Right?
Somebody's saying they got sources. Midnight Sun's coming. So I think so too. That's what my sources are telling me.
Yep. So there you go. There's your connection. We would be waiting on Ghost Rider at that point, and I don't know. Ghost Rider in Doctor Strange 2 doesn't seem far-fetched.
I feel like Ghost Rider is almost a slam dunk, right? And it may not be today. It could be 5 years from now. Like, that we actually get a proper... Like, we may get a variant of Ghost Rider. Like, we may get Nick Cage Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
In DS2. But we'll see. I'm honestly... I'm less excited about how it's connecting and more excited about how this show is going to continue on.
Oh yeah.
because I love the Egyptian stuff. The darkness and twistedness of the show has me really intrigued. And I'm curious to see. Go back. I don't want to. We're done here tonight, but if you really want to know the breakdown, go back to our videos, and it's like maybe 4 or 5 live shows ago. It was like literally right after the Super Bowl, and the thumbnail is like Doctor Strange in front of the Illuminati. Go watch that video. We did a huge breakdown on what we thought was going to happen with the crocodile and everything, and so far it's turning out correct. We'll see if we get it more into a god above. Do we get Anubis? Do we get Amun Ra? I think we do.
We get Flight for the Sky Dragon. We might get him. We don't know. We'll see.
So it's going to be fun. Honestly, this is just fun to see where they're going to take this. That's what I'm most excited to see.
I think this show, by the end of episode 6, you and I are here talking, saying this is the best Disney Plus show. No disrespect to Hawkeye. No disrespect to WandaVision. I know a lot of people really liked Loki, but I think this may be the best, in my opinion.
I feel like this is going to burn up the timeline similar to the way WandaVision did throughout the week. And we haven't had that since WandaVision. Maybe Loki was close, but WandaVision was on another level. And that was a perfect storm, right? We hadn't got content in so long. There was so much speculation out there. Everyone was chatting it up. We haven't had that level since. This may be close to that because there's so much. There's like so little, but it's like so weird because we didn't have a lot of speculation to talk about, but there's so much to break down of like, okay, where could they go? Like with this Egyptian stuff, like you could talk about that for all week, And so I feel like this is going to burn up the Twitter timeline and stuff like that, just similar to the way WandaVision did. Maybe not exact level, but close.
I think we all wanted Loki to be like that, and it really wasn't until the very, very, very end.
Right. And the last 2 episodes. I mean, that's where really your head started exploding. Like, what is going on, actually? Right.
Yeah.
After the train episode.
Yeah, with the $4.99 super chat, great recap and spec, guys. You think Daredevil and Punisher could show up with these characters? I don't.
Not with these characters.
No.
Different set of characters, though. Yes.
The New York City street level hero characters. That's where I think you're going to get them. We already got Daredevil. We already got Kingpin. It's inevitable we get the rest, right?
They need to build these mini corners of the MCU. Like, these characters can't all be together right off the bat. No. It's going to be too confusing and too overwhelming. Like, they need to build this corner and that corner and the street level, like you said, the New York, like those all have to be separate storylines right now.
Fawn Hero, what's up, man? Expect a nod or reference
That's
to Ramatut.
What I was talking about earlier. Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe your mind has to go there, right? You're talking Egyptian, like it's got to go there. So
I think, and they're allowed to now.
Exactly.
Right? They're allowed to.
Kang is out there. Kang Immortus is out there.
What about Apocalypse?
That is a really good point.
Ramatut makes the most sense with Kang, Immortus, and all that. But what about Apocalypse? What if this show introduces mutants in the background? Not
Four
really.
Horsemen? The Four Horsemen?
What is it? Sabin and Sab. Oh, God, I always forget.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I never get it right either.
Or something. What if
that's a very good point. That is a huge. Yeah, that would be cool.
Keep your eyes peeled in the background for anything Apocalypse related.
Maybe a small nod or an Easter egg or maybe a future reference, something that we didn't know meant something, but later on we find out it did.
Yeah.
That would be cool. But this isn't like the last time we're going to see Egyptian stuff. Like Moon Knight's going to be around.
Yeah.
So if it's not here, like we always say that, we speculate on characters. Just because the character doesn't show up like now doesn't mean that they won't eventually show up for the main character that we're speculating on, right? Because they can't, like, I think we're going to get Randall Spector at some point. Do we get him in the show? The way things are going, if you get more than a name, I'd be surprised. But at some point, like, that's a great storyline to pull in, an important storyline, especially if you tie Punisher together, because Moon Knight and Punisher definitely have a rich history, but we're not there yet, right?
No.
But you want to buy the books now and not when everybody's talking about them. Like, you want to buy them when they're cheap, not when it's about to happen. So, but this was fun. I miss these things, man. I really do.
I'm glad they're back. We had a lot of fun with Hawkeye. Now we're back for Moon Knight. Matt, I don't know how many times you'll be with us. There's only 5 more episodes left already.
I'm gonna do as many as I can. Yeah, that's so funny. And we can keep going, but Fallen Hero said Oscar Isaac actually played Apocalypse.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, 100%.
But all right, let's end it there.
Yeah.
But that's the end. That's it. We will be back next week. I don't know if it'll be Matt or Jay or Jem or Benny or Guy, somebody. How many of us? We never know. We'll know next week. But same place next time. Same. It's probably Thursday night, 9:00. We break these things down for you guys. Thanks so much, everybody. Matt, thanks. Check out Pressable Defects. Use the link at the top. I got a whole lot of whatnot stuff. I'm not going to go through it again. Go back, watch the rewind, watch the first 5 minutes of the show. We get into it. And there will be T-shirts in the 4th week. All right, Matt, thank you so much. Guys, thanks for hanging. We'll see you next week.
Later.